Good afternoon. So the last time I gave a BBC, last Saturday I think, I talked about a way of dealing with fear and anxiety that involves confronting the fear and trying to use intelligence, rational thinking, investigative analysis to understand why we're afraid, whether it's valid to be afraid in this way or not, and if there is a possibility that what we're afraid of might happen, are there things we can do to prevent it from happening and or prepare ourselves in case it does happen. So a woman wrote in response to my talk and said, "Thank you for your talk and teachings. I have a very serious, compromised immune system, so dying from this pandemic virus is a possibility. We are taking measures in my house and I'm quarantined and have been for over 2 weeks. I am meditating daily, but my anxiety levels are all over the place. I would love if you would talk more on dying and accepting death." So there might be other people in a similar situation to this woman, and I mean, this is such a huge subject. I can't say very much. I'll say a little bit now, but I'll give advice on where you can find more resources on this topic. So the method I talked about last week does require that our mind is cool and calm and clear, and we're able to think. But that's not always possible. Sometimes, like as she says, there's just so much emotion, so much thought, you just can't think straight. So I was planning to talk about this anyway, a few methods that we can do to try to calm down our mind so that we can think more clearly. And also just a few methods that can just help us get some like immediate help for this kind of situation. But I'm also really pleased that she asked this question because, I mean, this is such an important topic in Buddhism, preparing ourselves for death and dying. And the Buddha spoke about this a lot, and there's a lot of methods, a lot of tools that we can use to be prepared for death. But unfortunately, not a lot of people in the world never think about this. And there's a Hindu epic called the Mahabharata, in which a king is asked a number of questions. And one of the questions he's asked is, what's the most amazing thing in the world? And he says, the most amazing thing in the world is that every day there are people dying all around us, but we never think it's going to happen to me. And I think this is quite true. Even before this pandemic happened, I looked at the figures this morning. Last year, approximately 155,000 people died every day, which means 108 a minute. This is around the world, of course. So every day, every minute, there are people dying. But do we think about that? We tend to just go on with our lives as if we're going to live forever. Death is something that happens to other people, but not me. That's not going to happen to me. Right? So in fact, this pandemic is a good lesson in the reality of death. We're all going to die, whether it's from a coronavirus or a car accident or drowning or, we just get old and our body stops working. So it's going to happen to every one of us. And it's so important to be prepared for it. That's the Buddhist message. Be prepared for it. And what that means, the bottom line is, learn how to die with a mind that is positive and not freaked out. My teacher, Lama Zopo Rinpoche, said that the thing to be afraid of isn't death itself, it's dying with an uncontrolled mind, which means a mind that's just totally overwhelmed by fear, panic, anger, attachment, sadness, and not being able to have positive thoughts in our mind. So the most important thing from the Buddhist point of view is learning how to die with a state of mind that has positive thoughts, at least refuge. I always think that's the bottom line. If we can take refuge, remember to take refuge at the time of death, that is said to save us from an unfortunate rebirth. Okay, refuge isn't that difficult. It's kind of something that comes naturally. You know, when we're scared, we find ourselves in a difficult situation, we naturally want to reach out to somebody who can help us. So that can be the Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, Tara, whoever is the Buddha you feel most connected with. Think of that person and start training now. Whenever you find yourself in some difficult situation, practice taking refuge. Make a habit of that. And if we do that during our life, it'll happen easily and naturally at the time of death. Another really effective practice is loving kindness and compassion. Because when we're afraid, it's usually about me. Oh dear, what's going to happen to me? I'm going to suffer, I'm going to have to... So take the focus away from me and think about others. Others have suffering too. Others have problems too. I mean, this is something the Abbey and all the teachings here emphasize very much. Bodhicitta, love, compassion. So training ourselves in those states of mind as much as we can during our life, and then at the time of death it'll be easy and natural to have those states of mind coming up. Other practices that can be helpful are breathing, just deep breathing or any kind of breathing practice. That physiologically helps us to calm down and be in a more calm state of mind. And also relaxation. Like if you're feeling stressed right now, there's lots of videos on YouTube, guided practices to help you relax. So look into those, plug into those. And also the nature of mind. According to Buddhism, the nature of our mind is like the sky, calm, clear, peaceful, vast, spacious. And thoughts and emotions are just like clouds that pass through. They're transient. They come and they go. They're not who we are. So there's lots of practices, mindfulness practices, to learn how to deal with your thoughts and emotions. So instead of being caught up in them and carried away by them, you remember how they are transient and learn to let go of them. So these are just a few methods. I don't have time to go into it now, but actually just in a couple of weeks we have a course on how to prepare for death and help the dying, and it's going to be online, so all over the world you can join this course. And if you're too anxious and want something right away, I taught this same course last year, and I think the videos are online. And also there's lots of other videos, teachings by Venerable Children and other monastic abbeys on this topic of, Abbey monastic, sorry, on this topic of death and dying and how to prepare for it. So just go to the website and look for that. And also there's a little booklet, because I've been teaching this course for years, and we put together this little booklet when I was in Singapore, and there's a PDF of this which you can download. Just Google and type in, it's called Preparing for Death and Helping the Dying. I checked this morning and there is a PDF you can download, and there's some material in here that you might find useful. So that's just a little bit for now, but there are lots of resources on this topic, and thank you very much for the question, for asking, because I think it is an important one for everybody. And also just practically, it might be time to start having the end-of-life conversations with family and friends, and really think carefully about making a will, advance directive, also a Dharma will. Write down what you would like to be done for you before you die, while you die, after you die, and so on. There's a hospice in New Zealand, a Buddhist hospice called Amitabha Hospice, and they prepared a document. You can actually download this and fill out the form or make your own. But that will at least give you some idea about how to make a Dharma will, so that your loved ones know what you want done for you as you die and after you die. And that will bring peace of mind to you and to your family. So, just a little bit about this topic, but there is a lot more, so please look into it online. Thank you.